Hey folks, Vince the Evil DM here, back for another episode of Railguns and Dragons. Hopefully you've been enjoying the series so far as we're going over Heroes Unlimited Revised Edition, page by page, class by class, and things like that, showing you how the game can be picked up by anybody and learned by anybody to play. It's a fun game and enjoyable. I'm having a lot of fun with it myself, relearning it, since I haven't played it in a long time, and having help along the way. Some of our listeners and viewers here on the channel, like Captain Frost, is lending a hand and giving some advice when I'm building my campaign. So I appreciate that. Thank you, Mr. Frost, or Mr. Captain Frost, excuse me. Anyway, and our group is going to be getting together this weekend to play the first game of Heroes Unlimited, so we should be recording that for RollHigherDie.com for your listening pleasure. I will put that up here on the YouTube as well, on one of those videos that is just an audiogram, it's called. I've been releasing all the Roll Higher Die ones so far. I have all the Star Wars ones, all the Marvel, and I think all the D&D ones are there. I have to double check, but they should all be there for your listening pleasure here on my channel. Just cruise around and select a lot of stuff. I have so many videos on this channel now. At this point, hopefully everybody's enjoying them as we're, climbing that hill to the 1,000, which we're kind of at right now, but we'll see once we get that official email. Then we could celebrate. Anyway, let's get on with the show, okay? Great. So let's move on over. This week, we're going to talk a little bit about Bionics, the next thing in line. So the first thing you want to do with Bionics, now it does list here a step process of building a Bionics character. It tells you to create the attributes as normal, all right, and the hit points and the alignments and stuff like that. You could do that. Sure, go ahead and roll those things up and get all that stuff down. Write on a scrap paper. Obviously, you're going to need lots of scrap paper for this because you're building a basic Bionics character. Not to be confused with a robotics character. Bionics character thinks $6 million man or Bionic woman or maybe Cyborg from DC Heroes, things like that, or, whatever more. I can't think of the Marvel equivalent at the moment, but I'm sure there is one. Doesn't matter. Anyway, next step, it tells you to do your education and skills, then the budget, then building, and then the background data. I don't follow this method listed here. I kind of do my own method of roll up your attributes and put it to the side. After that, skip to step 3 and roll your budget, because you need to know how much you're working with when building your Bionic character. It ranges from 6.6 million to 9.5 million. Roll. I guess you can pick, but then who the hell is going to pick 6.6 million over 9.5 million? So it's a roll thing. Or, as the GM, you could just randomly pick a number between the 6 and 9, even change it, lower or higher. It's up to you how you want your campaign to run, and just give it to the player. Here's your budget. Boom. After that, I skip to step 5. Why I skip to step 5 is because it's kind of the background for your character. It'll give you an idea of how to help build your character so you don't have to... as it says in the book, a bionic surgery basically is very painful and very time-consuming and a lot of money. So there needs to be a reason why you're doing this. For your character's sake, for his sanity, for the game's sanity, for whoever's sanity. But it's a good idea to skip to step 5 and roll to see what you're looking at. Very rarely are there healthy specimens doing this, so they generally don't. That's why it's such a low number, 1 to 20%. Reason why, if you look at this chart, this is why I'm telling you to roll here. It's going to give you a basic frame of what you need to buy for your character to make him more bionic, make him a little bit more superhero-like, whatever you want to do. See, because if you do 21 to 40, you got lost legs or arms, both, to disease or accident. You can make up a little backstory with that. You're paraplegic, no hope of recovery. Someone like that would definitely step up for a Bionics program and volunteer himself, because why not? You want to walk again, you want to move again, so why wouldn't you volunteer? I mean, maybe you wouldn't. I can't really relate to people like that, and I apologize, but thinking if I were in those shoes and there was a government program that could give me the ability to do all these things, I would be the first in line for it. That's just me. Deteriorating bone or muscle disease, no hope for recovery or a normal life. Absolutely, you would probably do it. Completely paralyzed, no brain damage, or no hope for recovery, well, you would probably definitely go for it then. Now, the next part isn't really that necessary unless, depending on how far into it your GM wants to get. You can pick the sponsoring organization or have the GM just sign it to you, and it's a lot easier if you just assign it as a GM. That way you can get all your heroes under one umbrella, but roll for it. Go ahead. See if it's a medical research facility, a private industry, a secret organization, or it's military. It could be a secret military organization. It could be a secret crime-fighting organization. Whatever the case, make sure you roll and pick those things. And then it allows you to talk about your relationship with that agency. Did you run away? Are you being hunted? Are you considered hostile but not necessarily deadly? Are you hunted by law enforcement agencies and organizations that are trying to hunt you and kill you or bring you back? Or were you allowed to leave because you were a really cool guy and they were like, yo, peace, man. Go protect the world. I don't know. But that's another option to roll there. After you're done figuring out this, it's a good idea to start assigning your attributes to the numbers to your attributes that you rolled. Now, more than likely, you're going to be replacing parts on your body. As you can see here, major body parts, bionic components. So what you rolled kind of doesn't really matter because it's going to reset the stuff. So if you have some low rolls like 5s and 6s and things like that, throw it into your physical attributes because, look, one arm, PS, your physical strength is going to be 10, your physical prowess is going to be 10. So it doesn't matter what you put into it, it's going to be boosted up to that once you replace these things. Every time you replace it with these base stats, and then you move from there, depending on what you're doing. You want to increase your physical strength, it costs $2,000 for each physical strength point above 10 with a maximum of 24. Each little section goes over it and tells you how to build your character slowly from the bottom up. Now, you can, while you're building your character, also get an idea of your education and skills. I would put higher stuff into your IQ so you get some more bonuses on your, hopefully, if you have a high number or an extraordinary ability, get bonuses to your intelligence, your IQ intelligence for your skills. Put more things into physical beauty, things like that, so you can get those bonuses there while dropping the lower scores or dumping them into the physical ones so that you can replace them as you're building your character. One thing to note when building your character is that when you're replacing things like arms and legs and things like that, you will get the strength that you put into it. But you have to remember that each arm, each leg, and each part has its own physical strength and physical prowess to it. So remember, if you're going to lift something heavy over your body, your arms, sure, they're going to be able to pick it up, but the structure of your body is not going to be able to hold it for very long. Maybe, if anything, not that long, as in no. You'll be able to maybe do one of those toss things like that, but just think, if you're picking up that, whatever ton truck, and you're doing it over your head like this, your spine and shoulders will not be able to hold that structure. So you will have to definitely buy things that will reinforce you. You want to run faster, you're going to have to buy exoskeletons for hips and legs to adjust your legs. Now, don't forget, when you're adjusting your legs, and the guy in my group, he accidentally did this with his character. One leg was faster than the other, and he kind of would be doing like a limp run like that because he'd have a fast speed on one, but he'd have a regular 10 on the other, and he forgot to increase it, so he's kind of doing one of these as he's moving forward. So these are the things you have to remember. And there's some really cool things that you can plug into your bionic body. Oh, went too far, sorry. Into his bionic body, and there's lasers and retractable blades, and there's chemical excretion, which doesn't exactly tell you things like how much of it you have on you or how many times you can use it, because it just says it takes effect in 2 to 8 melees, you spray it on your blades, and you're done. It doesn't tell you how long the excretion stays on these blades. These are something that the GM has to think about when allowing this character. Okay, so this dude has his chemical excretion. He puts it on the blades. Now, how long does that logically last? And how many times can he use it? Because there's no actual usage to it. I mean, there's a duration of 4 to 16 minutes that it stays on there, but I meant as far as how long he can use it for. So during the battle, he would paralyze somebody and it would last 4 to 16 minutes, but it stays on those blades throughout the entire battle, the one strike, and then there's chemical replacements at $8,000 a piece. So can he carry these replacements on him? Are there little tubes on him? These are questions you have to figure out. Or does he have to go back to a base of operations, hook himself back up, refill all these things, and it costs him the $8,000 to do it? Because that's how it works. Or if he's working for a government agency, is that covered? Things like that. Or a private organization. Doesn't really matter for what organization is. Are they covering these things for him? If he's on his own, where does he get these things from? He just doesn't automatically $8,000. I mean, you could. It's your story, your world, your rules. As the GM, do whatever you want. But generally with these things, you have to kind of think how he's getting this done. You have to have some type of, at least in my mind, logical reason why this is being done. Can he carry extra supplies on him? Yeah, sure, you have special compartments that you can build into your bionic unit, so to speak. And maybe put these little chemical excretion bottles into the units. But the chances are that maybe he, in the middle of a battle, will get smashed, and that excretion would smash onto him. And then would he get paralyzed then? Because he's not immune to this stuff as well. It just so happens it's on his blades. Now, if he scratches his buddy, accidentally scratches himself with a critical failure or something, it affects him. So these are things you have to think about when you're building this character up from the ground. It takes a long time to build bionic characters. Robotic characters, probably even more. We'll get into that later as we move along. But you have to sit down with the player, and I think it took us, when I did it with the player in my group, it took us about an hour to do this character, a little over. And most of the time was spent on these and on actually building the bionic character itself. And going through the process of building the character, because he had a lot of questions. Can I do this? Can I do that? And it was something that I had to think about as a GM on what I wanted to do exactly. So I was on the spot, so I had to make a decision. But the decision is made when I'm doing it, and I told him that it could change depending on how it works out. If it doesn't work out, we'll talk about it, and we'll change it. As long as I'm consistent with rulings, which is all games, you should be, then you and the player should have a good time playing the game. Well, the group should have a good time playing the game as long as you're consistent with your rulings. It's when you kind of are not consistent with rulings is when we have a problem. Tell me what you think about Bionics. Have you played these type of characters? Do you enjoy these type of characters? Do you like them in your campaigns when you're a GM? Tell me what you think. Tell me what you think about anything here. Remember, it's your world and your rules. You play how you want. So keep it original, keep it old school, and good night, everybody.